And I do want to get your take on a really tight Senate race, happens to be my home state of Pennsylvania, and that's against Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman and Dr. Oz. Who do you think is going to claim victory in that race?
I will make a prediction, but I'm not going to bet a penny of my 401k on it because the Republican primary was so fierce that Dr. Oz's negatives were through the roof. That primary really set it up for a Democratic win. But unfortunately for the Democrats, the lieutenant governor had a stroke back in May. And instead of dropping out of the race and allowing another candidate, which they could have done until a few weeks ago, they could have substituted another candidate. Instead, it focused on whether he's got the health to be able to do the job as a senator. And there are very real concerns about it, but also, too, his past stands, especially on an issue like fracking. Fracking is a very big industry in Pennsylvania. The state has collected over the years billions of dollars in royalties. Over 50,000 jobs are dependent on fracking. And so he was against it. Then he tried to sort of say, well, no, I was really for it, even though I said I was against. He made a muddle of it. So people wonder whether he's too far left for most voters in Pennsylvania. So Dr. Oz has negatives. John Fetterman has got negatives. And so it's going to be get out the vote. So I think Oz will narrowly win, but it's one of those things that could go either way. People are not enamored with either candidate, and I think that's going to be, and also the governor's race, the Democrat is ahead there. So will people split ballots? All up in the air. But I think the Republicans will narrowly win. But if they do win, if Dr. Oz wins, you have to keep in mind that means they retain a Republican seat. It's not a gain. It's just retaining.
And you talked about ticket splitting there, and I know that the race there is neck and neck between Oz and Fetterman, but the Democrat Josh Shapiro is really pulling ahead of Doug Mastriano, the Republican. So do you think weak gubernatorial candidates in general, like Doug Mastriano, help or hurt the party's Senate nominations?
Well, people have learned over the years to split their ballots. And I think in Pennsylvania, you're going to see a distinction between knowing that the governor's race is about issues in Pennsylvania, the Senate race is about issues nationally. And Lieutenant Governor Fetterman, if he wins the Senate seat, the Republicans have been hammering home. That'll mean he'll vote for higher taxes. He'll vote for more spending. He'll vote for the kind of policies that gave us the economic problems we have today. So I think people make the distinction between what are we doing statewide and what are we doing nationally. So I think you will see a lot of ticket splitting. One of the amazing things about voting in blue states like Massachusetts or Vermont is that even though they're very, very blue, they do elect often Republicans as governors because they're dealing with state issues and they like somebody to, they don't want total one-party control. So you have a Bernie Sanders' home state, you have a Republican governor, a very popular one. You have an outgoing, very popular governor in Massachusetts. So people, I think, have learned to make a distinction between state and national issues.